When exactly do you want them to learn that skill? Let's talk about that. Okay, friends. If I'm being honest, I feel a little bit scared and nervous and timid to do this, but why not? Let's start a YouTube channel. Hey friends, Megan here and welcome back. Today I wanted to kind of encourage you to do a scary thing. Are you ready for it? I want you to stop rescuing and fixing your children's mistakes. Oh, I know, it's so hard. It feels so uncomfortable. Actually, last Friday I was kind of outlining this video and 3 parents, some that I'm friends with and some past clients, reached out to me and they were like, help! And it was like divine timing. It was like, yeah, I know, I got it. Let's do this. And so let's talk about why. Parents feel, we feel this sense that we need to keep our children feeling happy and feeling good. And if we're not, then that makes us a bad parent. And if you watched my second video, 5 parenting myths, I debunked that. No, don't. I'm gonna strongly encourage you not to constantly be saving and fixing and rescuing, keeping your children feeling good, because they're gonna rely on you to keep always doing that work. And that's where this feeling of like heaviness and weight and like pressure to do it all comes in, is because you're doing it all. So today I want to ask you 3 questions that I'm going to invite you to ask whenever you set a limit and your children make a choice, not to comply with it. The first question is, are they safe? Are they in imminent danger? Meaning, will there be permanent danger to their, damage to themselves, or permanent damage to them, like in a social situation or even in a family dynamic? Is there any permanent damage up ahead? Second question, is this a missing skill? Is there a skill missing? For instance, you've asked them to clean up and they're not. The skill that's missing there is to attend to the task of cleaning up. And the third question is, when do you want them to learn this skill? Do you want them to learn it now, where kind of the consequence is pretty low? It's just like a missed appointment or a missed meal. Or do you want them to learn it when they get older, like 18, and they forget to turn in a deadline important paperwork? Or even when they're when they have their own children and their own family and they realize that they forgot something. For instance, I never realized that you had to pay a car tax, and then my husband and I realized that we owed $1,200 in back taxes. That was a missing skill because we had never owned a car. We had never paid a car tax, a property tax. And that was a missing skill that we learned in a very painful way. So when do you want them to learn these skills? Because then we need to create the environment to help them learn them quicker rather than later. Let's take a couple examples. First example is, maybe you have a 5-year-old who's running out into the street. That pings the first question. It's no, if he gets hit by a car, there's going to be permanent damage. So you want to intervene and you want to fix it and rescue and save them. And then explain to them dude, that truck could have hurt you. That's perfectly fine to intervene. The next is, maybe you've asked them to clean up and they're avoiding you. They're focused on something else. They're getting distracted. They're going elsewhere. And kind of telling themselves well, if I just wait it out, I know she's going to do it for me. Clean room, bring homework, any sort of chores or tasks. They know that if they just wait you out, you'll do it. And chances are you'll get so frustrated that it's just easier for you to do it in the short term. I always encourage you to look long term, elongate that vision, look where do you want them to be, and let's get them there. So that's where these missing skills come in, where we need to maybe create a different routine, set different limits, allow different consequences to happen, and let them sit in those consequences without any further shame, blame, or punishment. Crazy, right? So for instance, a friend of mine called and said, hey, she was kind of worried about her son who was in 3rd grade. He's not turning in his homework, and her husband's been reminding him, and she's been reminding him, and the teacher's been on it, but how can you make him want to do it? And in all honesty, you can't make anyone feel anything. So you kind of have to let them sit, maybe come up with an agreement that these are the privileges that he can have once his basic responsibilities are being met, and then you just let it ride. And if he's not meeting his basic responsibilities, then he can't have the basic privileges that go along with those responsibilities. Like in Spider-Man, with great responsibility comes great power. And we want to teach this lesson as young as we can. I had another client whose son was playing with trains, and when she asked him, he's 3, and when she asked him to clean up, he didn't want to. And so she was like, okay, well, you can play with the trains. That's the only thing you can take out. You can't take out anything else until the trains. And she goes, for a whole day and a half, all he played with was trains until came time to watch a movie. And she said, well, we can't watch the movie because you still have the trains. And she said, those trains got cleaned up so quickly. So it's giving power to choices, helping empower them to make a choice, and then letting them sit in the consequence without fixing or rescuing. Whew, that is powerful. Yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. How difficult do you find it to let your children sit in these safe failures? That's what I like to call them. These failures that are, not going to be detrimental, not going to be a complete course altering moment, but these moments where they start to learn their power, their internal power. When do you find it so difficult that you just have to step in? I'd like to know. All right, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you later, friends.